All right, so as you're about to see, young people were clearly not buying what J.D. Vance was selling in the debate against Tim Walz. We have some pretty funny moments from these, like, snap interviews after the debate ended. Let's watch this one here.
When J.D. Vance said one of the ways ultimately that we can stop gun violence in this country is by having better locks on our doors. Did anybody react? You're laughing back here. No, you. What's your name?
Nora.
What did you think when you heard J.D. Vance talk about that? Jimena was talking about how because of what happened at one of your neighboring schools here, it's an issue that rings close to home.
I thought it was ridiculous. I mean, the issue is guns. The issue is not better locks on doors.
That moment stuck with me, too. If you were to go back through my Twitter feed, you'll see I tweeted about it as soon as it happened because he leaned into it, man. He was like, man, we really need better locks on these doors and we got to, like, strengthen our windows, bro. Like, really? That's your reaction to a mass shooting in school epidemic? That's just wild. So that moment landed. Then you have this one. Again, this is the one where it's abortion and the 2020 election stuff where I think Vance, to the extent any damage can be done in a VP debate, this would be the area where he did the damage. So here's a group of undecided voters, and this is what we get from that moment.
One of you said they've made up their mind. Ryan, who are you going to vote for, and what kind of solidified that opinion?
Well, I'm going to be voting for Kamala Harris. You know, one of the stark sort of aspects of that debate that really stuck with me was when they were talking about January 6th and how Mike Pence certified the election, and they were wondering if J.D. Vance would certify the election should Trump lose. And, you know, J.D. Vance didn't really give us a definitive answer, and I'm disappointed in that fact. And I don't think that I can trust someone, you know, with my vote if they're not going to respect it.
Damn. I told you, that was the moment. That was the moment that's now spreading like wildfire on social media, and people are talking about it, and it's sort of like, really, here we are 4 years later, and you guys still can't say, yeah, he lost. He lost. Will I certify it if we lose? Yeah, of course. Couldn't do it, but I saved the best for last. Here we go. This kid is going viral. Here we go.
We were talking, Marcus, about this constant criticism about the vice president not being able, about the vice president being in office for these last, he's already upset about it. The vice president being in office for all these years and not being able to make the change was the allegation from J.D. Vance. You said to me, I've been to high school civics class. Why did you say that?
Because if anybody took high school civics class, they'd know what the vice president can do and what the vice president can do. I want to make a quick point. Neither candidate on that stage talked about what executive action they're going to take on day one to do what they want, nor were they asked because they know that they can't. That's not how the vice presidency works. You don't get to do what you want. You do what the president delegates you to do.
So look, he's right. It's kind of funny too, right? Because they really have been leaning into this, J.D. Vance and the Republicans. Kamala Harris says she's going to do all these great things, but why hasn't she done it in the past 3.5 years? It's like, well, first of all, there actually are plenty of things, particularly with the economy that they did, that were positive. 800,000 manufacturing jobs are coming back. We got the CHIPS Act. We got the infrastructure law. We got a bunch of stuff that we could point to that's like very positive effect. PACT Act made it so that veterans who were exposed to toxic burn pits can get the health care they need. I mean, we can go on, but so there are things that have been done. But as this kid points out, well, hold on, she was vice president for 3.5 years. Donald Trump was actually president for 4 years. And we can point to his record, and his record is absolutely horrific. And so this thing of like, where is it the past 3.5 years? Well, she wasn't the president. She's the vice president. And if you want to be honest about it, it actually is a relatively minor role compared to what one might think the VP does, right? So that's not a very powerful argument, especially when your guy is kind of running as a de facto incumbent also because he was in office from 2016 to 2020. So this kid gets it, man. I love it listening to like the young voters give their takes because sometimes they'll surprise you, right? With, and maybe it's unfair to say this, but like it'll be a level of incisive that you don't see sometimes from older voters or from more hardcore or partisan voters. They'll actually like, they'll know when somebody's taking a cheap shot, even if I might not think, hey, are people going to catch on that this is a cheap shot? He saw it from a million miles away. And so the bottom line is these young voters were not buying, by any stretch of the imagination, what J.D. Vance was selling. And that makes me happy, especially because when it comes to style in that debate, I do think J.D. Vance beat Tim Walz, right? And so, but people are, thankfully, at least these young people, they don't really give a shit about the style. They care about the substance more than the style. And so if you're going to look at, on paper, who made the better points and who was in favor of the policies that would help people more, that one is very simple, very straightforward, and they get it. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.